Did I just get done watching a scene from Bad Boys? What was this about?
Ron Tillman, real talk, it's the truth.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Tillman with another Takes with Tillman. Before we get into this, just realize viewer discretion is advised. I make these videos purely for educational purposes, so that way the community can understand why police do what they do and why we do or how we do what we do. So this is coming from a current police officer here in Southern California. And with that being said, let's jump right into it. So I don't know if you guys remember or follow me on my Instagram page, but about a month and a half ago, I posted a video that came to us out of Houston, Texas, where officers pulled over suspect Roland Cabrero. And we watched it recorded from a innocent bystander who was recording this shootout, and it was crazy as ever. So what I want to do now is I'm going to play the video, and then I'm going to give you some context and actually understand what actually really happened that day. Let's go ahead and watch the film. So that's Roland right there, running away from police officers, shooting back at them. I mean, this video is just insane. So you got 3 police officers that are chasing him now, trying to follow him. Okay, now what you have is a suspect is now carjacking this female in the white Mercedes at gunpoint, mind you. Still shooting at officers. And it's kind of funny. I mean, the person that's recording this is unfazed, but there he goes. He gets into the white Mercedes and room, off he goes. Insane for the membrane, like the music used to be say. So why do I bring this video back up? Like, again, this happened about a month and a half ago. And when I watched it, I was just kind of terrified because I'm like, man, 3 officers were shot. So now what Houston PD did was they obviously released the critical incident debrief, and it kind of gives us a little bit of insight as to what happened that day, and it shows us the body cam footage of each and every officer that endured this incident. Before I get into it, I was actually going to cut this video up because it's about a 6-minute, 57-second video, but I decided to cut it up because when you watch this, you are going to be blown away as to what happened this day for police officers. Mind you, this incident started at 2:42 when they received their first call. And what the call for service was there was a disturbance at a residence. Officers went there to apprehend or figure out what was going on. And that's when they're confronted by Roland, who was armed with a firearm. Not just any firearm, mind you, but an automatic firearm. So they go to contact him. Police chases on, they go to detain him, and then that's where we're going to start the video. So again, I was going to break this up, but I decided not to because the video is just that crazy. Realize that, and one of the things I was thinking about when I was thinking about recording this video was how much people criticize officers and the equipment we have, how we respond to certain things, we don't have enough training, all this other stuff. And people say we don't get paid for what we do, we get paid for what we can do, and that's exactly what these officers did this day. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and roll the actual film and get into what happened. This is the suspect we're going to be talking about. This is Roland Cabrero. I believe he was like 42 years old. This is the guy that caused all the carnage on this awful, dreaded day. Let's go ahead and roll the film. So we're watching Officer Hayden's dash cam footage first. This is pretty interesting. Watch. Now notice how it paused for a second. When it paused right there, I thought it was my computer that was messed up. But it wasn't my computer that was messed up. It was messed up because when Roland started firing at officers, it actually damaged the video footage from the the dash cam footage. So that's what that pause was, and that's why you got a blue screen. Literally, I thought I was tripping. My computer just went bunk because it stopped. So let's go ahead and continue watching this. So now we're going to fast forward now. This is Officer Gadsden's body-worn camera.
Right here. Suspect is now northbound. He cracked up.
Pause the video. Did you see that? So as soon as the officers rolled up and tried to apprehend him, they were taking gunfire before they even exited the video. Pretty incredible, right? Look at how long it's taken for this officer to just catch up. And it's not because he's slow. I can guarantee you that.
Get on the other side of the car.
This officer has a lot going on. He's trying to, you know, figure out where the suspect is at. He's trying to find cover. He's trying to reload his gun. These are all things that's going through this suspect's mind as he's running, trying to catch up. Insane. So I don't know if you guys actually noticed what we're watching at or what we're looking at, but there's an officer on the ground behind the car. That officer was actually shot by the suspect. I mean, I want you to think about this. Put yourself in the situation of being that officer and imagine not only being fired at once you're getting out of the car, but now you have to find cover. You have to respond to the threat. And then you also have to be able to think, make sure your bullets are going where they're intended to go. Make sure you don't hit any innocent bystanders. These are all the expectations that not only the public puts on us, but officers are thinking about anytime they're involved in a critical incident like this.
Stop!
So this is that moment where the suspect carjacks that vehicle and now he's on the run. So it's going to switch now. We're going to go to a different body-worn camera. Same incident. We're just going to look at it from a different lens. That's all gunfire coming from the suspect. I want to pause the film for a second. So, realize this. A lot of people always have questions as to why officers ride around with assault rifles in their car. You know, these big long guns. Why do we need that? It's so militarized. I think it's more than we actually need. No, think about this. So these officers are taking heavy gunfire. All of them have handguns, obviously. The suspect is running away. So the question becomes, is it lawful for the officers to shoot at the suspect running away? If you ask me, it's absolutely lawful because that suspect is posing an immediate threat to not only the officers, but everybody in the immediate vicinity of that suspect and the officers. The second thing is he's now a felon on the run. This guy is a committed attempted murder, robbery, carjacking, all this other stuff. So the officers can absolutely shoot at this guy because he's running away because he's armed. The reason I bring that up is because you have to realize if they had an assault rifle with him, that gun actually makes it a little bit more accurate for them to stop that threat as he's running away. Now, obviously, these officers didn't have the time to grab one if they did have it in the car because as soon as they stopped the car, they were already taking gunfire. But there's a reason why officers will carry rifles so that way they can hit a person from a longer range as opposed to hitting somebody with their handgun. So I just wanted to throw that part out there because there's always a need for some of the equipment that we carry. And in this situation, it's the rifles that we carry. Lifetime Fitness, y'all. There's a reason why it's important for us to stay in shape. This is a long, long run.
We're gonna.
All right, let's pause again. Again, I'm doing a lot of breakdown for this one just because there's a lot of things to think about if you're the police officer. You've just got done running probably almost 2 football fields. You've been shot at. Some of you are shot. There's a whole lot of things going through your mind right now. If you are in shape, it's going to allow you or allow the officer to be able to think a little bit more clearly because you're not as stressed out as the officer who hasn't been maintaining a level of lifetime fitness, as we like to call it. So there's good reason of why we need to train for situations, because when you're induced into a stressful environment like this, you'll still be able to think semi-clearly because the last thing you're worried about is breathing hard and stuff like that. These officers have done a phenomenal job.
Be at the 2100 block of McNeil. Hutchins, I got an officer down. Car going northbound, Mercedes-Benz.
Now we're going to look at Officer Alvarez.
Suspect is now northbound. He cracked up.
1509.
Why do I stop it here? So notice when he gets out the car, his body cam just falls off of his person. Some people are like, oh, why is there no video? Or how come they weren't recording? Although these body cams are so phenomenal and they record a lot of things that, you wouldn't typically see, they're not always the most reliable because sometimes when you're caught up in a heated situation like this, it may just fall off of your person.
Suspect is now northbound.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out.
Wow.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Crazy. No time to react, just to think.
Send EMS, I got hit.
All right. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the video. I'm sorry I'm getting so excited, but I get excited when I see the things that we actually train for actually come to play in a critical incident. Now, one of the things that we train for oftentimes is if you are ever hit or struck by gunfire or somebody else is, what are you going to do from a medical standpoint? Are you going to be able to survive? Are you going to be able to fight through? Or are you going to be able to succumb to your wounds or succumb to your injuries? We like to call it a warrior mindset. This officer that we're about to watch has that warrior mindset. I mean, this is just phenomenal because this is actually, again, he's not rising to the occasion. He's falling back to his level of training.
Hey, come here.
If you're wondering what that is, that's a tourniquet that he's applying to his arm. This officer has been shot in his arm. He's now applying a tourniquet.
Get you a towel? Yeah, quickly.
How many of you guys would freak out if you're shot in the arm and just lay on the ground? That officer didn't. So let me pause real quick. And lastly, before we start wrapping this video up, we fast forward. Obviously, these officers encountered this guy in the initial stop after the pursuit. They chase him. He carjacks a woman. He flees to a house nearby in that Mercedes, runs inside, and barricades himself. Now the officers are at their front doorstep trying to still apprehend this suspect. It appears they've called SWAT out, obviously, for this situation. And this is where we pick up the video.
It's in this room right here.
That's automatic gunfire, guys. Automatic gunfire that's coming back from the suspect.
He's in this room right here. Hey, back up. Bang it! Non-bang! Hey, back up, back up. Hey, turn and go. Turn and go.
Literally, I feel like I'm watching a scene from Bad Boys. Like, think about this. Like, as I'm watching this, I'm like, there's no way this is real. But sadly, guys, in the profession that I work in and that so many others work in, this can be real life on any given day at any given time. You notice in that segment, they said flashbang or bang, whatever they refer to it as. Some would consider that to be a militarized weapon or, a tool, a flashbang. But there's a reason and a purpose we carry these things, and a lot of people don't realize that. Like, we have to understand, like, we don't live in a cush world where everything is all roses and cherries. Sometimes you deal with dangerous people, and when you're dealing with dangerous people, you need dangerous things to apprehend people.
Hands.
Hands. Let me see your hands.
Now, this is the conclusion. This is at 7:45 in the evening. The guy is finally surrendering.
Hands straight up.
Finally comes out the
Keep
house.
walking towards my boy.
No more gunfire. After trying to kill 3 officers who were shot, he finally surrenders. And that's the end of that ordeal. So, I mean, guys, I can't tell you. This was just an insane video. A lot of times people are always like, man, why do you guys carry the weapons you carry? Why do you guys carry the equipment you carry? We just don't know what we're going to respond to. And there's a reason for it. And again, the most exciting part of that video is where you're seeing that officer, he's running, he's shot. He has that warrior mentality. He uses a tourniquet and saves his own life. And another thing too, is you see the innocent bystander who doesn't know what's going on come to the aid of that officer. I think there was a lot of good things that come from this video. But if I'm, talking to somebody who is not familiar with law enforcement, what's the biggest takeaway from watching this video? The biggest takeaway is to realize that, you know what, in our profession, on any given day, things happen. Some crazy things happen. And there's a reason why we have the stuff that we have, and we need to train the way we do. So when we talk about defunding the police and getting rid of law enforcement equipment, or making it harder for us to acquire equipment, or reducing some of the money that's coming in for the training, why would you want that? Imagine you're one of the innocent people going about your day this day. Imagine you're the lady in the white Mercedes who's going about her day, and you're the one that's carjacked. Are you going to want the officers to respond with the best possible equipment that they can have? Or do you want the officers that respond to your location that are ill-equipped to handle that situation and aren't prepared because it was taken away because of propaganda? So anyways, I hope you guys learned a lot from this video. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Ron Tillman, real talk, it's the truth.